let's do a quick check on the futures for Wednesday night. Hey everyone, Nick here. We'll start with the S&P futures, the ES. It's still rallying. The day is over, but they're not done buying. So if we were to assume that this can continue on the way up, this is probably the repeat of one of these patterns. So they're buying dips into an ascending channel, and they just overcame the last bit of resistance that's near term. Above here, there's really just a couple of lines, and that's it. If you're thinking from the SPY, and then we're off to the races. So the mode is buy dips. That's what they're doing. And right here, you have all the buyers at 48.20 into 48.20, give or take a few pennies. If you take the red lines, those are, according to TradingView, the points of control. So you can line those up. Like the first dip, I think would have a lot of support at 48.25. And then you have the actual buyers from levels. These are the wicks of these candles. So if you get a dip, the idea is to buy the dip, but it's like 10 points, 10 to 14 points. And you might be able to get maybe 8 points of rebound, 8 or 9 points. So the idea is to catch the dip to get a rebound back to the point of failure or as close to it as possible. Now, if you're lucky enough to be able to get the breakout with it, you can ride runners higher than that. So buy the dip mode on this one. I'll be shocked if the other ones are not the same. We'll go to the NQ. Yep, similar strategy. Buying dips is what's going to work. And shorting, like where would you short? You don't have a proxy. So now if they drop and then they rally into one of these levels and you want to short that level, okay, with proper stops. But for now, I would buy dips into 17,095 or lower, I think, if you're fast. It depends on your speed. I think it's easier done with the S&P. If you go with the RTY, that is the small caps, hey, we got something to short. What? So if you wanted to short these wicks, you can with stops. All right, so again, the red lines are high points of interest with regards to volume. Notice the distance between this one and that one. So here's what we say. If we lose these wicks, 2080, you might end up losing 20 points in a series of lower lows and lower highs. So what am I saying? There might be some consolidation on the small caps between here and here. And it all depends on what they do overnight. So the trade is, if you're active, short into these wicks with stops of dollar amounts, and or if you want to try to buy the dip into these wicks, but the bounce I think will be lower highs. So be careful. Maybe for this one, I would try to short it and see how low you can ride it overnight if you have the brain capacity for that, and go along the other ones on the other hand. So depends on what ticker. YM, I think today busted out. All these peaks above this. So this looks like a football team, American football, on the goal line, and all they need to do is just fall forward, right? So by tomorrow morning, if they don't poke through these, they might end up coming back down to 37,940 and test these wicks. I mean, this is so easy. Why are they not taking it? I'm asking. And it's a rhetorical question. So I think that there's a longer swing trade on the YM to actually capture something like this in 2 bursts. I'm not so sure I'm brave enough to do it overnight without watching it. So if actively trading overnight, you might be able to see a start or not, right? So we go down to 5 minutes and see if we can get some information on the 5-minute chart and see if we can line it up. Levels to pay attention to, 37,970. That's this battle zone right there. I think it matters. And it also matters because they would have lost at 37,975, which is the last bounce level. Then we're talking maybe 37,930 or 37,900, which has a bunch of buyers and probably levels. Yes. So 37,915, I think would be good. All right. Hopefully you wrote those down. GC, you know what? It popped at me this morning, beeped at me like a new high. And where did it end up? Pretty strong move that got us here. Let me zoom out to 30 minutes, actually. There we go. So strong move, and these peaks are causing harmonics. So this red W is bearish. It should get you to 2084 zone. That's target 1. Target 2 is much lower than this, but let's count on target 1 maybe. Target 2, I mean, the bulls are super strong. I would think that there are support inside this white. This could be a target, but there's a lot of support, at least for one bounce. So the battle is Can they take out 2093? If they can't, will they be able to test and hold 2087? 2093, 2087. So if we put a box around it and trade the box, get short at the top of the box, get long at the bottom of the box until one of the edges of that box breaks. So what am I saying? If the bears are able to push them down below this white box, I think they get to this and maybe overshoot a little bit and exit. If they are able to bust out of 93, they could have enough to test these two candles. I'm not sure I want to buy the breakout. I would rather buy the dip into the bottom of this range and see if they can curl up and get to that, and I would exit, maybe leave runners. It just feels heavier. And I'll go with in the absence of anything else, I'll go with the red W. If we get another circle here, I would love that. One of these circles come up right here. All right. CL, I think we'll make that be the last one today. So quietly, oil is making a comeback. How? A series of higher lows and higher highs. I can put an ascending channel here. So, what if what if a couple weeks from now, 2-3 weeks from now, whenever we have some inflation reports, it comes out hot? Because suddenly the one thing that touches everything as far as inflation is oil. Diesel is everywhere in the production and everything down to delivery. So let's see where that takes us. They are rhythmic with it. So if you go, okay, from here to here, what if they redo that? Look at this. It overlays perfectly. What if they redo this? So try to trade this ghost feed. I would get long here, start to scale out at 75 into 75.5, fade it, restart again from a higher standpoint. All right, folks, that's it for now. We'll reconvene tomorrow.